Welcome back. Baseball season in full swing. Fans just can't seem to get enough of the ball game. Lucky for them, the Major League Baseball Players Association is launching a new app today called Infield Chatter. The app connects fans of America's pastime with its players. Joining us right now is MLB PA Executive Director and former MLB All-Star himself, Tony Clark. Good to see you, Tony.
Good morning.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
be
much
here.
for joining us. What an exciting baseball season it's been.
There's no doubt about it, and the weather's cooperated for the most part, too, knock on wood, so we'll take that as well.
Any takeaways from this season so far that you want to, before we get into the app?
Well, I think as much as anything can happen on any given night. I think we've seen more walk-offs and more clutch plays early in the season than we have in some years past, so I'm interested to see what the next, 150 or so games look like.
Incredible. All right, so tell us about Infield Chatter, the app, better connecting fans with players.
Well, that's really it. Over the course of the last couple of years, the players have been trying to figure out how better to connect with fans. So they implored us to figure out how to connect those dots in a fashion that perhaps hadn't been done before, and we created an app that allows for exactly that. So although there are a number of other social media platforms, the truth is this one's a little bit different. Whereas there's a lot of content in a lot of different areas on a lot of the other platforms. This one is baseball-centric and allows baseball fans to connect directly to the guys.
Are we talking to take you in the dugout? Because if I'm a manager, do I want my guys engaging with the fans in real time, or how does it work?
It won't happen during the game,
okay.
But what will often happen is away from the ballpark, even during the off season, as guys are doing their particular routines or are looking to engage in fans directly, because this is by the players for the fans. They'll offer content that's behind the scenes and off the radar screen a bit in an effort to engage that next generation of fan.
There's a lot of talk about the game needing to be sped up, especially in this era of attention deficit disorder. What's going to happen over the next few years to speed up the game?
Well, we'll have to see. I think it's always a dangerous proposition to implement a rule hoping that you know what's going to happen versus what may actually happen on the field and any unintended consequences. So you're always a little careful there and hesitant. I think we've demonstrated over the last couple of years a willingness to try and figure out how to do that, while also appreciating the history of the game itself. As I'm sure you guys can appreciate, the players themselves are invested in this thing from the time they're knee-high to a table, and all of their heroes have played the same game that they're playing. So you're always careful about what you change, but always willing to have the conversation.
It had to be exciting to be on the world stage recently with the global baseball game. And how important was that for America's pastime?
I think it was fantastic. I never had a chance to play in the WBC. By the time we had the first one, I was at the tail end of my career, and the phone wasn't ringing quite as much as it had or might have earlier. But the truth is, that platform, that opportunity to show the game on a grand scale is just much different, and it's one of the things I wish I had done, but over the course of this last round, appreciated and enjoyed the fandom and passion that exists out there.
We're in this post-steroid era now. How has the game's engagement with fans and players' engagement with fans changed as we go into this new era?
Well, it had always been in the past. You had to do an interview, or you had to do in the paper or on TV, and then slowly but surely tech jumped into the conversation where different platforms were providing an opportunity for guys to engage, and that's why this seems to be the next natural progression, where a siloed, content-driven, baseball-focused fan area of engagement that allows for a deeper level of conversation between players and fans is what we're hoping to do.
Do you find fans more cynical, more demanding, more engaged, less engaged? How is the fan base changing in this new era?
Well, I think fan and fanatic are probably part and parcel to one another, at least against the backdrop of the excitement and passion that they have. So yes, the fans are passionate, and we want that.
You got to get them in their seats, though, at the stadium. I mean, that's the whole point, right? I assume as people are watching the game from home, so this technology move is probably one of the reasons to do that, right?
Well, that's the hope, whether at home or even in the ballpark.
Ballpark food's never been better either. And
it's a little bit.
I'm serious,
and
don't discount how important that is to getting people to pay up for tickets.
Well, at the end of the day, having options is much different than it was before. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day who talked about beer, hot dogs, and the like. Well, now you can get sushi and gluten-free.
It's more than beer,
vegan.
All right, give us a prediction, Tony. Come on, before you go. World Series, who's in it?
I predict that whichever team wins.
Oh, here we go.
Come on.
But you know what? But here's one more
Stick your neck out.
I'm a Twins fan. I'm AL Central bias here. Come on, everybody. What do you think? Give us a team.
When I was with Detroit, we started out in the AL East, interestingly enough.
That's true.
But as a player, I'll tell you this. I never started a season believing that we were going to be or not be the last team standing. And I played on teams that lost 100 games and teams that won 100 games. So I'm telling you, as a player, as much as anything else, I have a chance to win the whole thing and be the last team standing. So I'll be very interested, as much as all our baseball fans are, kind of where this thing shakes out.
Some people think the Mets have the big momentum, like our floor director right here, Nat Candido.
There's no doubt about it. They have an unbelievable club.
All right, we'll leave it there. Tony, great to see you.
No, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Tony Clark joining us. We'll be right back.